Welcome in week 14 edition of the Cash Process. I'm your host, Ben Husser. I'm joined by Anthony Carson. We are here to give our first look for the week 14 NFL DFS slate. As always, we are sponsored by OwnersBox Fantasy. You can see on the sidebar there, promo code KARMA over at OwnersBox down online gets you a $500 deposit match, a free DFS entry with our code. We build a lineup for OwnersBox every week on our Sunday morning stream, 11 a.m. Eastern, live on our YouTube channel. We have plenty of content for OwnersBox on the website. We have core plays for OwnersBox every day with our subscriptions. And I cannot believe that it's week 14, Anthony. We have a smaller slate this week, only 10 games. One main game that everyone's going to target, which is Lions Vikings 53 over under. So what's your first look here at the slate, and then we'll dive into these positions. And then how was your week last week? I think I once again missed cash by like 5 points thanks to Mahomes doing literally absolutely nothing against the Bengals.
It's
But
crazy.
luckily, anyone that watches the stream on Sunday knows I was very high on Mike White, so I actually ended up slightly profiting even with my cash lineup losing because I had Mike White on all my tournament teams. He was my tournament core on the website for subscribers that did well. So shout out to Mike White. But how was your week 13,
Yeah,
AC?
man. Week 14, crazy. I mean, a little bittersweet because it's slowly coming to an end. We've had an awesome season at DFSkarma.com and BetKarma.com. Yeah, it was a good week for me, man. I cashed on both sides with my main lineups. Um, Tournaments, I bubbled, didn't have as much fun as you, but I bubbled 2 out of the 4 I made, 2 out of the 5, excuse me, for tournaments. So it was okay. Like we talked about pre-podcast, I haven't really had any thrilling tournament finishes. It's been kind of opposite of you. You've been in the hunt. And by the way, Ben, I'm proud of you because, a few years back, I feel like you were just playing a cash lineup. And, now you're venturing into the GPP bro world, right? So getting a little weird with it. And frankly, you have to do that because no one's going to win 18 weeks in a row with their cash game lineup. It's impossible, but it's fun to have exposure, especially in 3 max tournaments and, just like hedges, right? That's how I like to think about it. But yeah, I was on a lot of the guys last week, similar to you, Mike White, Christian Watson was really high on him. I kind of had the right guys in different spots in tournaments. So I'm hoping to connect the dots soon and finish with a flurry here because usually every year I have at least one massive tournament takedown, but I haven't had it yet. But again, profitable week. Enough of that chatter. As always, guys, NBA's in full swing. I just wanted to bring this up because we have a lot of people starting to filter in, checking out our NBA product. Very similar to our NFL. You got your projections portal, our core plays, our content, our trends tool over at betkarma.com, the props comparison tool, the SPF predictor tool at betkarma.com that analyzes basically the pricing structure and of the price picks platform versus our simulations and what we're projecting. So a lot of good stuff. We want you guys to take advantage. We know Christmas time is when everybody starts diving into NBA. So come join us. There's a lot of deals and discounts going on both our websites right now. And of course, we still have several weeks left of NFL, including playoffs. Yeah, man. It's all I got really for last week, to keep it short and simple. This slate before we dive into it, I always like to start at a macro level. Again, I'm just looking at our live trends tool. This is free, guys, betkarma.com. And we have a massive total in the Minnesota game, right? Minnesota and Detroit, and it's Coors Field yet again. Everyone's probably going to start there, I would assume, this week with a lot of their DFS players, especially in all formats, but cash games, I'm guessing, included. We'll get to that. I'm trying to think what else, Ben. I mean, everything else in the slate, like, again, let me just go to Mahomes real quick. You brought him up. Like, I don't know. Oh, is that an 8 o'clock game or is that getting flexed out? The Chiefs game, are they on the main
No,
slate?
yeah. So it was supposed to be the night game, but it got flexed to
They're
four
flexing.
o'clock, so it is
Okay,
on the
yeah.
slate.
So
Yes.
I don't even like that game. I mean, I'm probably going to have zero exposure there. I mean, like, not even a Kelsey dart. We'll get into this, but I'm always going to have a Seattle stack. I'm so pissed last week I didn't again because I've had it so many weeks in a row. I don't know why I didn't have it. This slate just kind of looks ugly. We'll talk about the Cowboys. I mean, Pollard and Zeke are probably going to be mega chalk in several formats. I mean, the Cowboys in general, their defense. I don't know, man. Like the Browns Bengals game, I think the public's going to be like we talked about pre-podcast, like high on the Bengals, which I don't know. I'm not going to be a complete Browns homer here. That secondary lines up. We just match up really well with the Bengals. They talk about Burrow being 3-0 against Mahomes. I mean, I don't even remember the last time the Browns have beat the Bengals in any meaningful game. No, I mean, that's probably famous last words, but we just match up well with them. I don't really like much in that game at all from a fantasy perspective. I could be wrong, except Mixon. I'll probably play him in cash games. I will play Mixon if he's back this week. Other than that, that's the macro level first take, I guess. So if you want to, rebuttal that or go right into quarterbacks, let's give the people what they want and start off the slate talking about DraftKings pricing for week 14.
Yeah, we'll dive into quarterback here. So I feel like I'm the voice of reason when it comes to the Browns on this podcast, but you are correct in the fact that Joe Burrow has never beat the Cleveland Browns,
Yeah.
and three of the I think he's played them four times. Three of the four, I mean, he really struggled. And then you'll remember when they played earlier this season on Monday night. I mean, he had his worst game of the entire season. So I don't know. We'll have to think about it more throughout. I mean, the Bengals are firing on all cylinders right now, right? They
Yeah.
got hot at this time last year, and it seems like they've done it again. I mean, he looks absolutely dialed in. So we'll see throughout the week. But starting off at QB, I mean, definitely like if you're spending up, like there is guys to spend up on, right? I mean, you have Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Mahomes, all 8K or more on DK. You have Burrow up there, so there's definitely guys to spend up on. I think, Josh Allen's always going to garner, X percentage of ownership just because he's Josh Allen, even if it's a tough matchup, division opponent. And Jalen Hurts, I think, is probably the best overall quarterback on the slate. I'm holding that Jalen Hurts MVP ticket, so I'm kind of hoping for just like some big games down the stretch here so he can lock that award up. But I do think people will spend down at QB, like you said. You have Jared Goff at 5,600. He's at home. He averages over 20 fantasy points per game at home. It's the highest over-under of the week. It's a bad secondary for Minnesota, and he's only 5,600. So I think people will go there. We have Tyler Huntley with Lamar out in a tough matchup, but not a tough secondary, right? Like Pittsburgh's defense is good when TJ Watt plays, but they are beatable in the secondary. We've seen Tyler Huntley excel with Lamar out in past seasons. He could run last season. He runs. They don't really change their offense up much by going from Lamar to Huntley. So I think Huntley and Goff will probably be like trendy cash game quarterbacks by the time we get to the weekend.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, a lot of times I'm not. Well, I guess it's not like your flag planting, but man, I want a flag plant on something. Like I want nothing to do with Huntley in cash games. And if he's going to be popular, I think that's a huge edge this week. I mean, I was tilting that game because I needed the Ravens to win. I actually I didn't bring this up at the start, but I won my biggest parlay I've ever won in my life, and I'm still ecstatic about it. And it was just a lot of luck. I mean, I never bet college football games, Ben, but I actually parlayed a bunch of college things over the championship weekend. Just I liked some of the scenarios going in, and then I parlayed them with a bunch of NFL games, and everything worked out. And ironically, the only game that almost bit me was the Ravens game, and I just included them with a money line bet, which I didn't think Lamar was going to get hurt, obviously. So I watched that game dude, that game's a total of 37, Ben. I mean, again, I think that's bad chalk if that becomes chalk. Give me Goff all day. Thought I'd never say that in DFS if I'm paying down. It would be hard for me historically as a DFS player to avoid the Cowboys situation. I know we'll talk about them with running back, but I mean, for only $800 more, excuse me, that's wrong, 900, you can get Dak Prescott against the Houston Texans. If there's salary later in the week, I mean, I'd almost prefer to get to Dak. I just feel way safer about that. And I know we're gonna have a Cowboy in our running back scenario, and you can soak up all the points with a Dak plus a Zeke or Tony Pollard. I think that's an interesting avenue this week. I mean, we had it in our cash games. Well, I had it in my cash game. And it was, I thought, somewhat popular of P. Ryan plus Burrow last week. I mean, something similar there. So, yeah, I'd play Hurts on a different slate probably. I am going to have exposure to him in probably a tournament, 3 max entry. Just feel like he's never owned as much as I always think, including myself. So I'm trying to. The Giants secondary looked completely washed the last couple of weeks, so we'll evaluate that. But yeah, paying down for sure. All right, you want to start at running back?
Yeah, so running back, I do agree Goff over Huntley as well. And I don't know if Goff and Dak's ceilings this season are really that far off. I mean, we've seen, I think, what, a 40 pointer from Goff early in the
Yeah.
season, I think. Um, and he's good at home. So I do prefer Goff there as well early on. But yeah, running back. So 8,500 CMC. I think this is the question of the slate. Obviously, he had that massive game last weekend, and now they're going to be playing with the Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy at quarterback. Um, so when Eli Mitchell came back for the Niners, like they were kind of like still really using Mitchell, right? Because Kyle Shanahan loves Eli Mitchell, like it's noted. But with him out, they kind of didn't just fill in like a Jordan Mason or Davis Price for Mitchell. Like they really went to McCaffrey, like which is kind of I think kind of what we thought they would do when they traded for him. And now with this backup quarterback, and I know it's not like a great matchup against Tampa, but I mean, just from a pure volume perspective, I think you'll have to consider CMC. I don't know, like in terms of value, obviously it's pretty early in the week, but if we're spending down at QB, we'll probably be considering him. Don't really love anyone else up there like Barkley, Henry. Like those guys are great tournament plays, but probably not sticking out for cash. Mixon at 6,900 definitely is in play if he, is cleared and all good to go. And then you have like Dallas guys are in the 6K range. Pollard, 67. A big thing to watch will be Kenneth Walker. I don't think he's going to play, or at least it doesn't sound like he is. So potentially getting, like DJ Dallas or whoever is behind him, that could be a cash game thing as we move on through the week. So I think that's like guys that stick out early. Like there's other guys for tournaments, like down in the mid tier. DeAndre Swift, we were talking about pre-podcast, I think is interesting. I had him on my tournament team last week. I think he's good for GPPs, but I don't know. Does anyone really stick out? I mean, I think if Mixon's healthy, yes. CMC, I mean the Dallas guys, but I don't know. Is anything else really sticking out to you?
No, and again, I'll say the same thing. I don't think you're flag planting on CMC, but I want to say no bueno for me with him this week. That Tampa Bay front, think about it. They just shut down Kamara big time, and I don't know, man. Like I witnessed Brock Purdy.
Kamara had like some workload like stuff though. I
He
don't know. Like
did,
they really
yeah.
weren't
You're
like
right.
playing him. I didn't mention Travis Etienne though. He's 64. So last week we kind of like saw he was going to be chalky, right? And then I think people moved off him when Pirine opened up because he only came in. He was like 25%. He probably would have been closer to 50 in cash, but he didn't get there. But he played like his normal role. Like there was zero concerns with his foot injury. Like he played the whole game. Got a ton of touches, but they were just getting blown out. So in that second half, like they really couldn't run the ball because they were down so many points. So Travis Etienne at 64, I think, is a good play as well. I did not.
But he's got like the toughest matchup on the slate, though. Not including Price.
Yeah, but I mean 6,400. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess
I'm not going ETN because of the matchup. I probably won't have any exposure. I think I'm burnt with looking at that 85 price tag, 8,500 from Eckler. Like I had an awesome cash lineup, and it could have been much more glorious in GPPs as well had Eckler at 8,500 done Eckler things. So I think maybe I have some recency bias is looking at that price with CMC, but I don't think I'm going to play him. Like just the fact listening to you talk, Ben, here was my takeaway. You going through the running backs, like your conviction was so small. And that's how I feel like on this whole slate right now, besides the Cowboys. Like, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. Pick one, Zeke, or I know Pollard's better, but he is 600 more. If you can get to him, great. You got to have one of them in your lineup this week. And I think that'll be a popular take, right? So one of those is going to be in your lineup. And then, yeah, I mean, there's just not much to like. Even DeAndre Swift, I was kind of considering in cash. He'll be in one of my main tournament rosters if he's not in cash games. I don't like a lot. I guess Mixon, like we said, I mean, I do like Mixon a lot, but hearing you talk and me feeling the same way, like I just want to get the receivers right this week. That's kind of how I'm feeling early in the week. So I probably won't be paying it for CMC. I'll probably make sure I can lock in as much wide receiver upside as I can and then kind of filling it out from there. So,
yeah. Before we go to receiver, I will mention James Cook's 4,600. So I don't know if people remember, but back on that Thursday night game, I mean, they were feeding James Cook. And we've kind of seen this before where these younger guys take over as the season goes on. So I'm not saying that James Cook's going to be the lead back over Devin Singletary on Sunday, but They went to James Cook early in that game, and he just looks good. I mean, he's a good player. So I think 4,600, like, definitely might be interested in tournaments.
I know
For
you
sure.
brought him up. Zonovan Knight is in play. I mean, I consider him
Yeah.
in
Wait,
cash last
Carter
week.
might be active though, so I guess we'll have to see
Okay,
what's going on
that's
there.
good to know. And then last thing, you mentioned it. Like this whole week is going to come down to this Seattle information, right? Could be a trap for DFS people, but we got to wait and see what happens there.
Yep, 100%. All right, receiver. I mean, you have the obvious guys at the top, right? We don't need to break these guys down. Jefferson Diggs, AJ, Jamar Chase, St. Brown, up to 7,800, but dude, it's still too
Lock
cheap.
him in.
Why
Lock
should
him
he? Why is he not 80 over 8K? I've said this for 2 weeks. This is Cooper Kupp,
Yeah.
especially when he's at home, where Jared Goff is good, which is the case this week indoors. I mean, what are we doing here? If people are playing golf, they'll be playing Amon-Ra again. He's gonna project well. He's gonna be high owned. So I think he sticks out for sure. T. Higgins sticks out with that team total. Like, people, I think, will play T. Higgins.
Yeah.
And then to your point of the Jags having that tough matchup against Tennessee. Tennessee, the place to attack them is, their secondary is absolutely horrible. Christian Kirk went off last week. He's 66. I could see people being interested in him. And then, what do you make of Garrett Wilson? He's still in the 5Ks. I know Buffalo is like quote unquote tough matchup, but dude, this guy, like I said, we've seen these young guys take over at the end of seasons all the time, and he's just good. Like, he's good.
What's his price?
He's 5,900.
Didn't he just play Buffalo? What was his stat line? Well, then again, it was with homeboy at quarterback, right?
Yeah. So there was a good stat. I cannot for the life of me remember who had this, so I apologize. But whoever at whatever company tweeted this out, it was a good stat. Garrett Wilson without Zach Wilson this season is averaging, I think, 9 targets a game, and the bulk of those have been on the first read. And I mean, obviously, we've seen what he's done like the last 2 weeks. Like, he's just good. I mean, he was a first-round receiver, and it's not like, I mean, Buffalo's, like, they have like Trey White. I'm assuming will be back and stuff. Like, it's definitely a tough matchup, but 5,900 is still
fair price.
Like he probably should be in the 6. Like, he could be up there with like Devontae Smith and Mike Evans in the mid 6s, I think, based off what he's done. So
I think you got to play him in cash, right? Because everybody else is gonna. So he's fairly priced, and I'd be interested to hear in your content this week, or if you just let us know in Discord. Like, I would assume Trey White would probably be on Corey Davis. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's how they might line up, anyways. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in Discord. I'm curious to know your take, because I feel like that would be an auto lock. Like, how much was he playing in the slot last week? I don't know. I'm asking. You may or may not know right now, but Trey White, I don't think slides into the slot. And again, I would assume that he would just be on Corey Davis most of the time. I was just thinking the reason why I think I'm not having explosive tournament weeks is I tend to fade these guys in my tournament rosters more often than not, like the Amon-Ra's last week, the Garrett Wilsons. Like, and when the mega chalk just goes nuclear, I'm dead. And that's been happening a lot this year. I mean, would you agree with that, Ben? I mean, it just feels like the chalk
is... I'm kind of fine eating chalk. It's just depends like what else you do with your team.
Yeah.
You gotta like a lot of times nowadays, like the chalk is the chalk because it is a good play. So yeah, if the chalk goes for like 2 touchdowns or something, you're not really you can't predict that. But like last week, like Amon-Ra, it was a good play. Like he's just too cheap. It's a good play. And Garrett Wilson, you can get weird with Garrett Wilson. Mike White was 5% owned. He threw for 350 yards or something. So you could get weird with that. You could get weird with like DeAndre Swift, for example. I had like you can play some chalk and still just get weird other places.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do think though the last several years, like
this year has been like an anomaly. I do agree.
This year's been a little bit different for sure. But you know what? I was thinking about even kind of changing my style, and I think I'm just going to stay to the status quo. And if the year ends with no big tournament win for me, then so be it. I go into next year. But I mean, again, like for example, like looking at Garrett Wilson at 5,900 now, like great cash play. That's why we're talking about it. I just don't think I'm going to have much exposure in tournaments, if at all. I mean, like there is risk in this game. He is priced higher. Like, it's the same with the Christian Watson effect, right? Like, is he really going to score 2 touchdowns a week every single week? Right now, yes. The answer is yes, but I think you get where I'm going with it. Before we get off track, I mean, let's start going down the list. Any more mid-tier to lower price guys. I'll just bring up the guy that I tout every single freaking week on this podcast, Nico Collins. He's always 4,200. This week he's 44. He goes for 12 points, which is 3x every single week. If you have a DraftKings player $10,000 and he gets 30 points, you're happy. So I play Nico Collins, I feel like, every week, and looking at him at 4,400 against Dallas, where they're going to be behind, I just feel like he's a lock in cash games yet again. So that's kind of like one of my favorite values down here. Anyone else you're looking at in the mid to lower tier range?
I like Donovan Peoples-Jones again at 4,900. Mari Cooper road splits. He's scored against Cincy before, and he never moves. Like, he's always in this 48, 4,900. Like, I know Watson looked bad, but, he's going to be rusty. So I think DPJ is a good play. And then we didn't talk about him, but CeeDee Lamb 7,500 against Houston. Like, I'm sure,
yeah, he's going to be.
People will be playing him. So,
but it could be a decision point, right? Like, it's Brown or Lamb. I mean, who knows how salary shakes out this week? In my opinion, everybody's going to go Brown because they're going to have Pollard/Zeke, one of them, and kind of build from there.
I'm surprised you didn't bring up Amari. I know, like, we have the road splits narrative thing, but
he's cheap, man.
He got over 40% of Watson's targets. I mean, they were kind of force feeding it to him. So
he's cheap. I mean, 6,200
is a good price, especially even if you play Bengals and just run it back with him.
He's not quote unquote a historic cash game play, but it's 6,200. Like, I looked at that, and again, it's early in the week. I'm like, man, like, I know that's not the right cash way, but it is for his price. And like you said, the amount of target volume he got last week, and they should be playing from behind. So
yeah, and like I said, you could play Bengals and run it back with him. You could play him and like T or Chase or something, like, just together. I think that's fine.
Can I bring up the ultimate tournament roster play of the week? The troll DFS play of the week. Zay Jones at 4,700
every week.
You already talked about the pass funnel. You brought it up. I mean, Christian Kirk probably is going to be owned, but I am so glad. I don't know if you played him, Ben, by the way, so I'm not saying it one way or the other. I was just shocked that people wanted to play him in cash. Like,
Kirk?
I get it. Zay Jones.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, people want to play him every week, and then he never gets ownership. But then it's just funny that, like, he did actually have, like, a massive game one time that no one knew he was even capable.
He was owned in cash games last week. He was owned.
Oh, yeah. Kirk was like owned too. I liked him, but I just couldn't fit him.
I couldn't get to Kirk.
Yeah, it was like weird. I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, again, if you're splitting hairs, like, Nico Collins is a better play than Zay Jones, but tournaments, I think he's going to be 2% owned this week because he burned everybody, and he's an interesting play because you can't run, in my opinion, on Tennessee. So, any other 3 max entry shout outs you want to give this week? Your boy Thielen's down there, 4,900. I know he already hurt you once this year. Anyone else? There's other guys. It's going to be an interesting tournament week this week, in my opinion. Is Jerry Jeudy in play against KC? I mean, I looked at him at 5,400. Cortland Sutton's hurt. I don't know. It's hard to trust that passing game, obviously. So
yeah, I was going to bring up the Broncos guys. I don't know if I can go there in cash just because dude, these Broncos games are they're 8-6 every game because it's just like disastrous. Now, obviously, KC is a little bit of a different beast. I can't just assume that KC is only going to score 10 points, but definitely think guys like that are interesting. And then I don't know where he's priced at, and I did not dig into his routes or anything yet.
4,300.
Who you think?
DJ Shark.
No, I was gonna talk about Jamison Williams. So if he can play a little bit more snaps this week, maybe not cash but tournaments. If you're looking for a way to get different in that game, obviously he has big play upside. But I did not even look how many routes he ran last week. So
I'm all in on DJ Shark this week. I feel like that's like a Matt play too. So I'm curious what he thinks on that. I mean, again, one of these weeks, Brown is not going to get there, and it's going to be somebody else. And Shark is looking great. We talked about it on the Thanksgiving week, in Discord all week, and he started showing some signs of life. He looked great. He was like 2 yards shy of the bonus last week, and I was shocked they didn't just throw him another ball to get him to 100 against his former team. But yeah, I like DJ Shark a lot this week as a pivot off of Brown.
All right. I think we can go to tight end though. So Kelsey at the top, he's 76. Tournament play for sure. You won't be able to get there in cash. TJ Hawkinson revenge game in Detroit. He's 5,100. He's had this great role on the Vikings. Like, for sure he's going to be in play. Your boy Fryermuth. Um, he didn't really do much last week, but he had that long play, so he still
Yeah,
had 10 points because he had 76 yards. So he definitely gets targets. And
yeah.
I think he's fine at 45, but I don't like to spend like in that 4 to 5K range. We like to go down for cash. I called it on the live stream. I said this is the 1 week of my entire life I've not played Greg Dulcich. He's gonna go off.
I know. I
He
saw
had a
that. I
great
was
like, dude.
laughing.
It was like, yeah, it's poetic, dude. I literally said that on the stream. I'm like, this is the 1 week I've played him every week. I needed him to get 5 points for me to go to a live final, and this guy looked like he never played football before. But of course, he comes out last week, and I just keep getting the alert because I have him on my
He had
sleeper
like
teams.
15 points last week or
Yeah,
something.
I have him on all my sleeper teams, and it sends you the alert. So I just keep getting the alert. Great, Russell Wilson passed at Greg Dulcich, 20 yards, 15 yards. It's like ding, ding. I just keep getting him. I was losing my mind, but I think he's in play for sure for cash games. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't see like anyone super cheap that sticks out. So I think probably like Dulcich or God, Conklin let me down, so I don't want to play him. So really just Dulcich for like a cheapie as of right now. But people people will want to play like Dalton Schultz. I think I would prefer to get to Hawkinson, and then I want to bring it up just because it's so funny. But with Brock Purdy at quarterback, I don't even think Brock Purdy is that bad in that system because they don't need a gunslinging quarterback, right? Like if
Mhm.
Cincy lost Joe Burrow, they're done.
Oh my God, Kittle's
Yeah,
4,300.
I'm gonna bring that up. Like if Cincy loses Joe Burrow, they're done. If I mean Jimmy Garoppolo, if they lose him, like they're not done. They're still gonna be one of the best teams. George Kittle's only $4,300. Like what? What
That's
are we
insane.
doing here?
He hasn't.
I'm interested in tournaments for sure. I mean, 43 is insane.
He just. Oh God, he has not done anything. That's the cheap. I've never seen him that cheap
Yeah, that price
in my
is
life.
insane, dude. I thought I was like wrong. I had to pull up like another thing and look at it. I was like, that
You
can't be right.
absolutely need a tournament exposure to Kittle. I mean, 4,300 is just way too good to pass up. By the way, Indian signed Josh Bell. I love that. Great signing. Guardians, sorry.
I have a
Yeah,
Guardians hat on. You can't see it, but I have a Guardians hat on.
oh, nice. Dude, I mean, I'm locking in TJ Hawkinson. Like, he might not be.
Yeah.
This is abnormal for me. I mean, I'm always paying down. Then again, I really got to evaluate
I
the
mean, you're
Broncos
just game stacking
situation.
that game, I feel
I
like.
know. Like,
It's
I
just like
need.
so dumb. I hate weeks like this, dude.
I know.
I
I
loved
know.
last week. I don't like this week as of
You
whatever
know
day it
he's
is.
scoring this week. I mean,
Yeah.
he may only get 60 yards, which is enough, but if
I
he's
do think
scoring,
O'Connell is like the guy that will be like, we're definitely getting you a touchdown.
yes,
So
absolutely. It's like the biggest lock of the week. It's so easy. It's so easy. I don't like paying up for tight ends. I don't like this. I really hope I come off this, but like right now, I got to play Hawkinson. But I will take a hard look at your boy, your favorite Dolich, because dude, what is going on with Denver? Like, do they even have anyone left? I mean,
could
they're
you,
playing the Chiefs.
dude,
They're going to be behind. Dude, oh
dude,
my God. Ben, can I do a quick reverse? If you're still watching this podcast, shout out to you. You made it this far. And give us a
like the video. If you're still watching this, like the video.
come on. Let me bring up somebody that I looked at right before the podcast, and we didn't talk about him because he's a disgusting play. You know who's going to hit value this week at running back? I mean, you can't
He's
even
going
make
back
this
to
up.
running back, but we're on the 30-minute mark.
I
He's
know.
gonna.
It's Melvin Gordon. Did you see his stats last week?
Oh no,
Bro, talk about this game is in Denver. This game is in Denver. Melvin
I
Gordon is
can't play
scoring.
Melvin Gordon.
Oh, I'm playing Melvin Gordon in one. Maybe this is why I'm so bad at tournaments this year. Because I'm playing Melvin Gordon in my 3 max entries. Bro, he's like
Oh
he's
God.
legit like 4,300 or something or 45. I mean, when I saw the price, he had like 6 catches
James
last week.
Cook will outscore Melvin Gordon.
Man, I don't know about that.
That's my take.
Melvin Gordon's getting in the box this week. You better believe he's getting in the boxes. I was shocked at how much he played. Okay, sorry.
All right.
Yeah. Harrison Bryant, God, don't even do this to me again.
Yeah, I guess if Njoku's out, I don't know.
gotta play
We
Harrison
like
Bryant.
punt tight ends though, so if he's
I know.
out, I don't know. I might consider it.
I'm probably gonna play because this is what we do. We play punt tight ends, and it is the way to go. I mean, it really is. How about Ian? Is it Ian Thomas down here? That I always like. He's 2,700. I took a look at him. K. Dotton's 2,800. Like the way to actually win in DFS and tournaments is playing the cheap punt tight ends. Same with cash. It is the way, in my opinion. Like I don't know how you win paying up for freaking Hawkinson at 51, even though I probably will do it this week. But all right, let's finish it defense.
Yeah, we'll finish up here at defense. Like I said before, like the video if you made it this far. We appreciate it. It does actually help us out if you like this video. So please do that. Yeah. So I mean,
Are we paying up this week?
well, no. Okay. So I was gonna say. So
Cowboys are a thing, bro.
I feel like the chalk defense by the time the weekend comes will be the Bucks because they're 29 and people like they're playing against Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily like that because Sam Frank can just run the ball. Like the game is just not gonna be. I don't envision them just dropping back Brock Purdy like a ton of times. Like they're just gonna be trying to run the ball. But they're cheap. Pittsburgh. I mean, their defense is always cheap, so you can play them. Yeah, I guess that's the only cheap ones. I don't. I
Oh
mean,
no,
you can
there's
always use
another.
like Panthers or somebody like that. But
Oh, there's another. Not
what?
necessarily for cash. My favorite defense of the week. 2,600. Cleveland Browns are the best value in the entire slate.
Okay.
You could pair him with Chubb at 2. He'll be 2% owned. Chubb coming off a quiet game, an eerily quiet game. I mean, dude, this is the Browns recipe. Ironically enough, I got to finish with a Browns take. If they do somehow get ahead, which they did earlier this year against the Bengals, they will run it down their throat. They can't really stop it. The Browns D, Chubb Browns D correlation for all the money. I'm just saying. I did call it on the live stream, but ultimately my dumb ass pivoted off the Browns, and that was sickening, absolutely sickening. I'm done.
Yeah, I felt dumb for not having a Browns D team last week.
I brought it up, and I had
dumb.
it in my lineup, and I pivoted off of it.
I mean, you're not gonna ever predict 2 touchdowns, but when they got the first one, I was like, yeah, that was dumb of me. Yeah, Cowboys D against Houston 3,800. What are people doing with that? You think people are playing that?
I'm gonna play it in 2 or 3 out of my 6 lineups. Yes. I am
Alright.
playing them 50% in my lineups this week. It's that good of a matchup. Like, dude, they're gonna score 15 to 20 points, bro. I mean, even if it's
20, is this a
yes.
lock? That's
Even if
kinda
it's
insane.
only here's the problem I've noticed. You ever look at the winning rosters in these GPPs? Like, it's always a defense. It's just always a defense that has 18 to 25.
Yeah, that's why it's the dumbest thing. That's why
It's
we
the
shouldn't have
dumbest
to
thing.
play it because there's
But
no accurate way to project it. It's like this. I've learned this playing soccer DFS the last few weeks in World Cup. There's no way to accurately project what a goalie's going to do.
Yeah.
And that's what wins you tournaments. When a
Yeah.
goalie goes for 30 points, it's stupid. It's the dumbest thing. There's no reason to play that.
But this is one of the rare weeks that you could be like, the Cowboys are okay. I'll lower the floor. They're scoring 10 to 12 points bare minimum. Like, you can't say that with any of these other defenses.
That's more okay. 10 to 12, I will give you. Yes, that's more.
There was I don't know if you played in defense last week. I love that we're talking so much about defense right now. But last week in cash games and DraftKings, I don't know who it was, but there was 28 to 35% of people played a defense that got -2 points. I don't even remember the team right now.
It was tight. It was Titans because they were the cheapest on the slate.
My mind was blown. I mean, I was just like, I felt bad for them because that's been me half the time too.
I didn't.
But I was like, this is so stupid. Like, that's not even fair to them. Like, my defense scored 2 points. Like, big deal. I had a 4-point edge.
But hey, you know what? I still lost. So I don't feel bad for those people.
Cowboys D.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Like I said, like the video. Check out the website, dfskarma.com. Free content every single day. NBA, NFL, whatever you guys play. You can pick up a membership still. There's still a good amount of football left. I mean, we have weeks of the regular season left. It's about to enter this multiple slate type season where, we've got 3 games on Saturday, stuff like that going on. So that's always fun. We do showdown cores as well. And then NBA, like you said, is just heating up. So check out the website, dfskarma.com. We appreciate it. Any final words, AC?
No, good luck this week. I mean, like I said, the big win's coming for us. It's coming, Ben. We just got to keep grinding, and hopefully we're next.